Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Choose Life meditation, where we've picked one that has spoken to us during the week, and we kind of just add our own few thoughts to it, although I think Simon does a brilliant job. So I was struck when I read July the 12th. It's called Clean or Dirty, and the verse he starts with is, "Who may ascend the mountain of the Lord? Who may stand in his holy place? The one who has clean hands and a pure heart." And I've often prayed this prayer, that I would have a clean heart and pure hands, or pure hands and a clean heart. Hang on, let me just get it correct. Clean hands and a pure heart, whatever. That's what my prayer is constantly, really, that I want to be that person as I enter the presence of God, that I wouldn't be filthy and dirty, but because of what Jesus has done, I can come into that place, into that throne room of God. That is amazing, isn't it? Anyway, I'm getting carried away, because this is what Simon says. In 1949, a great revival took place in the Hebrides. 7 men and 2 women had decided to pray and not stop until God visited them in a powerful way. One night, at a prayer meeting held in a barn, one of them read the above verse, the one that I've just been butchering. He shut his Bible and said, "It seems to me just so much sentimental humbug to be praying as we are praying, to be waiting as we are waiting here, if we ourselves are not rightly related to God." He asked God to reveal if his own hands were clean and his own heart was pure. Suddenly, God's awesome presence swept the barn, and they came to see that there was a direct correlation between revival and holiness. A power was let loose that night that shook the island, and we all know about the great revival that came to the Hebrides. Many of us have read books on it, we've heard preachers preaching on it, but it started with prayer, and it wasn't like everybody praying, it was just a few who were wholly committed and who sought God, and who made sure that they had those clean hands and pure heart when they were praying. Tozer goes on to say, in Simon's quoting from him, "Prayer for revival will prevail when radical amendments to lifestyle are made, not before. If we're serious about meeting with God, we have to move beyond the sentimental humbug which the man above referred to, and embrace lifestyles of authentic obedience." Wow. When I was a lot younger, in my late teens and early 20s, I served on a Youth for Christ team in my hometown. And the full-time evangelist, he loved quoting revivalists of long past. And so I just remember, I'm probably going to butcher a lot of these, but I remember him talking about, I think it was Billy Sunday, who says that the problem is the church treats sin like a cream puff rather than a rattlesnake, and rattlesnakes bite or kill even. And it's like, yes. And then I remember him saying, I think it was John Knott who said, "Give me Scotland or I die." And then finally, the other one that I remember, and again, I'm sure these are all butchered really, but the essence is there. John Wesley said, "Give me 100 preachers who fear nothing but God, and I will turn the world upside down." And these were the things that I was kind of influenced by, I suppose, without even realizing it. Just that total sold outness for God. And I guess, if I'm honest, that's what I've really tried to do throughout my life, because I want to see God move in revival. And I've seen amazing things happen in churches where it seems as though the Spirit of God, has just fallen, and it's like the whole church has been impacted, and people are weeping before God as he just brings to the surface, sin that has perhaps been hidden, that they weren't even aware that what they were doing was not pleasing to him. People coming to know Christ, confessing before him. I have seen those things happen, but I've never been in a nation where it's actually happening around me. I guess the nearest I've come to it perhaps is when I went to Toronto for I think it was the 21st or the 25th anniversary of the great outpouring of God's Spirit. But that wasn't really a revival so much as an outpouring of God's Spirit. But I mean, to see thousands of people just being impacted by God's Holy Spirit is pretty amazing. And these are things that I've never forgotten. I mean, even when I was on this Youth for Christ team, I'm so blessed really, to have had these experiences even as a teenager of going to other churches and praying for the sick and seeing them healed, and praying for the Holy Spirit to come, and we're talking about sort of like the back end of the 70s here. It's a long time ago, but friends, I still remember those things, and that wow, God, because I knew what I was like. I was just a teenager. What did I know? Yes, I've been brought up in the church, but I mean, gosh, I was brought up in a very straight-laced church where we sat in pews and we sang hymns, and there was no freedom. I had to sit still. I couldn't, if I made a movement, it was like, stop fidgeting. And it wasn't just my mum and dad who would say it, it was like other members of the congregation. Oh my goodness, just the grace of God really that I'm still here. But I think we have as much of God as we want, or as much of God as we allow him to impact our lives. And because of the things that I've seen and experienced, it's like, I just want more of God. And so I'm constantly saying, more of you, God. But in that asking for more of God, that has to look like something in my life. And it does, because suddenly it's like, okay, Sally, you want more of me. Well, you see this little area here? Or you see that little bit of woundedness there that happened all those years ago? I want you to bring that into, would you allow me to bring it into the light in order for me to bring healing to it? But you see, it's quite painful sometimes to bring that stuff back into the light again. But while it's hidden, it still has power and authority. But when we bring it into the light, it's like Jesus isn't bringing this stuff into the light just to humiliate us or to make us feel bad about ourselves. No, it's in order to forgive us, heal us up, and make us more whole and more like him, so that we can contain more of him. So I want to end really because this is something that you either want or you don't, and I can tell you all the stories in the world, and I can encourage you and cajole you and kind of like, come on folks, let's do this together. But at the end of the day, it is your responsibility. It's your choice. Do you want more of God in your life? Because if you do, then there are going to be consequences. You may not be able to watch the stuff that you like watching on television. That might have to go. He might not like the language that we use at times. That's going to have to go. He may even not like the friendships that we have, because they actually do us harm and not do us good. I'm not saying necessarily that he's going to do any of these things, but he mightn't he? And it's like, are we prepared for him to change, to make us more like Jesus? So this is what Simon says. He says, how much do you want of God? Because nobody has less of God than they want. And in fact, Simon says, think about this last line. I'll repeat it. And so he does. How much of God do you want? Because no one has less of God than they want. Wow. So today, my friends, are we going to say yes to Jesus. Yes to the Holy Spirit. Yes to Father God, to work in my life to make me more like Jesus, so that I have more of you in my life, in order that I hear you more clearly, in order that I can pray more succinctly, that I can pray for the things that are on the Father's heart, that we will pray together for revival in our nation, because boy, does our nation need revival. It always has, but I feel like at this time, I think we are ripe for revival. So my friends, more of Jesus, more of Holy Spirit, more of Papa in our life, in order for us to be more like Jesus, more like him, in order for us to be that salt, that shiny person that Simon talked about while we're away, to be that person full of light in this dark place that we find ourselves. So the Lord bless you today in all that you do. May you have that desire to know more of him. And I know that he will reveal more of himself to you as you ask and as you seek him. Amen.